Yo, what's up, YouTube? Want to talk to you about having a dog and the board and train, or the board and groom anytime you're boarding a dog. So for those that don't know, boarding, at least from what I know, I'm not an expert in this, that. I'm just a regular guy giving my experience, okay? And it's the first time, we're just normal kind of dog owners. I didn't know what a board and groom was, a board and train. Professional trainer sounds kind of bougie, but I'm telling you, it's kind of a necessity with a dog, especially if you live an active lifestyle. And a boarding is where you take a dog to kind of a facility, a place that, will house a dog for, it could be a day. It could be a regular thing, a pet owner that maybe works all the time, and they want the dog to be boarded up for the day and be kind of played with and entertained. It could be if you go on a trip. A lot of people I think do that, where they go out of town and they don't take the dog. They'll leave the dog with the board, boarded up for days and weeks, whatever the case may be. Usually they recommend active on the shots and stuff. We do some titer testing and try to stay active on the shots that are necessary and required, but there's certain things we kind of skimp on because we're kind of anti-vax around here, but we do what we need to do, and we do titer testing and make sure she's got the antibodies and stuff like that. So the boarding process, my experience, I'm going to try to stay away from a lot of the board and train, because that's what we did. That's the only experience I have with it. The board and train experience was great. Having a e-collar training and basic obedience training, do it. Look into the e-collar stuff. I did a video on that. And the board and train, having your dog trained by somebody. My dog stayed with somebody for 2 weeks, boarded up, and he worked with the dog for 2 weeks. Such a great experience. The dog comes back like a brand new dog, mostly in good ways. But let's get into a little bit of the bad. And I heard rumors, really kind of after the fact. I didn't hear these rumors before, and that's kind of why I'm making this video. Maybe you're looking into it. Maybe you're thinking about it. You should do it. I think you should definitely do it. Like anything, do your research, look into the reviews, look into what people are telling you, and, but I'll tell you a little bit of the bad. I'm going to tell you, boarding a dog, if you doing it for the first time, especially if your dog has separation anxiety. Molly had a severe separation anxiety back in the day. Not as bad these days. She's definitely cooled down. She's gotten used to the fact that daddy's gonna come back, okay? But she still has a little, and you see that with the high energy dogs, and I think especially female dogs. And she had a real bad case of it, man. She would lose her mind. And part of that might have been my fault. When she was a puppy, I should have had someone coming over when I was working a lot at the time for a short stint, couple months, when she was really young puppy, and I should have done a better job. I didn't have much money. I didn't know how my financials would work out. I could have made it work after the fact, and I figured that out, but there was some personal life things going on. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't blowing money on something that partially I didn't think was as important, but looking back on it, I should have done it. And I think I kind of messed her up a little bit by doing what I shouldn't have done, kind of leaving her locked up in a room, because they're puppies, they get into stuff. I had places set up for her to do her potty and stuff. And anyway, she was cooped up in a room, and I think it was a little traumatic, and that's where her separation anxiety probably partially stems from. I could have done a better job. But the boarding process can be traumatic for the dogs in that extent, because they don't know that you're coming back. They don't know what's going on. That it's kind of like prison for a dog if they're not used to it and stuff. And I'm gonna tell you, man, I could say that when I got Molly back, I could tell that she had a traumatic experience, because she was a completely different dog for a short amount of time with her personality. And some of that extends even to now. For example, when she was a puppy, she was extremely friendly with other dogs, but ever since she went to that boarding place, she has this, I don't know what happened. Maybe she got in fights with some dogs, or a fight. She just doesn't trust dogs right out the bat anymore. And so ever since she got into that, Now when she sees a dog, the hair on the back of her neck and her back stands up. She shows some aggression and hostility in that extent. And matter of fact, the first dog that she interacted with that we didn't know, after she was, this was probably many months, maybe even a year later, she showed some aggression, and I was really surprised. So that's something that, I don't know exactly how to mitigate that. I'm just sharing my experience. I want other people to know about that and try and plan for that and to make it better if you can. But has it inhibited her in a major way? No. But definitely a little different. And like, even when I first got her, you could tell she kind of had went through a really traumatic experience. She probably thought I was never coming back. It's kind of like prison for a dog. They don't know what's going on, what they did. And you never know what goes on in the boarding facility. So make sure you do your research on the Google reviews and stuff. And if you can, maybe visit the dog. I couldn't because I was away. And, consider these things, maybe kind of ease that burden and plan accordingly. But overall, really good thing, I think. But, just wanted to share our experience, and she's taking it easy. Ooh, we're out.